The following is a Podbeard production.
EST 2016. This is
Interviews, music reviews, opinions, and more.
This is The Hodder Show.
What is up, everybody? We are Audio here today on a very special Halloween edition of Hodder Show Rewind. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing a Hodder Show Rewind today, going back to episode 136, when I got together with my boy Izzi, a former co-op student of mine and buddy, to talk about the ghosts of gigs music. Now, I was going to do an episode this week touching on some paranormal encounters I've had in my life, and then I realized, well, hang on a minute, I already basically did that. So that's what this episode was. Instead of kind of rehashing an old episode, I decided, you know what, let's just do the rewind. These are fun to do, to kind of go back in time and kind of see where I was at. This is almost 100 episodes ago, just about. So it was really fun to go back and see how far I've come and things of that nature. It's always a good time to do that. And I know you guys are going to enjoy this. Things get really creepy really quickly. So if you're looking for something kind of real and spooky to listen to, you have tuned into the right show. Now, before I get to that, though, I've got a couple things I got to touch on. Number one, I need to give a massive shout out to everybody, because the last couple of weeks, man, the show has been growing even more. I've had some days that I had over 100 downloads in one day, and that's amazing to me. That's utterly amazing. And I need to give a huge shout out to the rival town and their whole fan base. Thank you guys very much for all the support. Big shouts again to my man Bryce for coming on the show. That was a very well-received interview, so thank you very much for that. And also, I need to give a big shout-out to the two brand new Hodheads. That's right, Hodheads. I have started up my Patreon again. The night that I actually launched it again, I got 2 subscribers to the Patreon. My man Scott Duquette, who I've known for I think 15 years or something like that. He was the first guy to jump on there. Thank you so much for the support, Scott. If you're in the Clarington area or surrounding areas in Ontario, Canada here, and you need some windows cleaned or gutters cleaned or some Christmas lights strung or some power washing done, hit my boy up, Suds Window Cleaning. Check them out if you are in need of any of those kind of services, especially with the Christmas coming around. The snow's getting ready. It's getting cold. You know, maybe you want your gutters cleaned out before the snow falls, or maybe you're going to need some help with your Christmas lights being strung. Hit him up. He will hook you up. He'll get you taken care of. No worries about that. Thank you very much, Scott, my man, for the support. And then, of course, my man Will from Rolls Royce. Will was the second person to jump on there. Will, thank you so much, my man, for your contributions. I'm very excited to get the exclusive content going for you guys. I'm hyped. I already have kind of an idea on what I'm going to do for the first thing. I've got some ideas, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But if you are interested in the Patreon, becoming an exclusive member of my community, the Hodheads, be sure to go on www.patreon.com/The Hodder Show. I have a $1, $5, $10, and $20 tiers, all of which have different rewards and access to different things. So check it out if you are interested in that. Of course, it is 100% optional. I will never charge you guys for this show. Now, with all that out of the way, I'm very excited to jump into this Hodder Show Rewind here today, talking all about the ghosts of gigs music. Let's go back in time. Yeah, we got the ambiance.
Oh, yeah.
We got the pumpkin.
The pumpkins.
Well, what's
and
dope?
The lights.
Yeah, well, what's dope about that is that pumpkin there. You guys can't see it, but the pumpkin that I'm pointing at right now, it's literally like a figurine pumpkin for a candle. But my girl's so smart and funky and cool. She went and got one of those little strobe lights.
Disco lights.
Like a disco strobe light.
Yeah.
She put it in. It's so cool. And when it's dark in here, oh, it's so dope. It's so cool. Total Halloween, spooky.
Yeah. You got that witch lamp.
Oh, yeah.
With the sound effects.
There's a little button you got to press.
Oh, you hear that? shit.
So we're hanging out at the kitchen table in Hodder Show Studios here with the decked out Halloween decor that we're commenting on. I'm here with my good buddy Izzi, who, for those of you who don't know him, actually what you just heard, that sweet little intro, funky, creepy intro beat you just heard, he actually did up for me. And so thank you very much for that, sir. That was very
Not
cool.
a problem, man.
That's cool. And for those who don't know, Izzi, or as I know him as Isaac, he was a co-op student at Gigs Music with me, and he was the best co-op student I ever had.
Oh, that's saying a little bit much, man. But
Shout outs to all the other co-op students. But
oh yeah.
you know, he worked there as a teacher and everything and that. So it was kind of lost, not lost touch, but didn't see him a lot. And then he actually started working at my work, so we've kind of. And I'm like, it's just good. It's good to talk to you again, man.
Yeah, man. It's been too long, man. A lot has happened.
So much.
Oh yeah, but we always thinking back to gigs. Oh man, crazy days, crazy customers. You know,
Crazy fun customers
nice
coming in.
creepy basement, man.
Creepy basement. Well, and that's the thing. It's like I've wanted to do this forever.
Yeah.
Ever since I started this podcast, people have been asking me, when are you going to talk about specifically one ghost in particular? But they're like, when are you going to talk about like Gigs Haunted Basement?
This is some scary shit.
Yeah.
Really.
And like
Real.
And the last thing too is like when there's been a lot of podcasts this past couple weeks that have been covering haunted locations and stuff, things of that nature, like supernatural stuff, and that's all. That's awesome. And some of them have personal stories, and that's sick. But for the most part, I find a lot of them have been covering just like, it's not a knock or anything. It's just they're covering. This ghost story, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
but,
like this happened. It was just a story everybody tells and stuff. But this is like we're going into some real deal.
yeah,
Crazy firsthand experience stuff. You know.
shit, yes, son. And we're just mellow. We're hanging out. We're chill, but it's gonna get intense as shit here, like really quick. But just kind of diving into it. Gigs Music was just a very quick synopsis, because I've talked about this 100 times on the podcast before. You go back to episodes 2 and 3 of the Hodder Show, 134 episodes ago. Yeah,
We're already here. Oh,
yeah.
man,
Well,
that's pretty far.
I can't believe it's taken this friggin' long to get you on the show too.
Man, it's just I haven't been around, man. Now I'm back around here, man. You know, we'll be pumping out some. I might be out here, you know, being have a little sideshow in there. I don't know. Oh man, my words.
Having a sideshow.
Sideshow.
Well, you've been off doing just to talk about that real quick. You've been off doing a whole bunch of shit. You were.
Oh, man.
What were you going to school for? You were.
Oh, I was going to school for electronic music production. It's basically just desktop production. That's in a nutshell, basically.
And you were doing that, and you were like doing some modeling and stuff too, weren't you?
Yeah, a little bit here and there, but that's not that mentionable. That's not really a main thing. That's just something on the side. But
Just something that was fun.
That's not my dreams, you know.
No,
trying to get into this music business.
That's
the industry.
That's kind of the goal. And that, like I said earlier, you can, if you want to check out some more stuff that Izzy's done, you can check what's the SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. You could just search Izzy Buddha in capitals. And that's IZZIBUDDHA. Yeah.
He's got some sweet stuff on there. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a rock metal guy in that, but he's got some pretty sick. I believe, as the people say nowadays, fire. He's got some absolutely fire beats.
Oh my. Yeah, I guess you could say that, but I'm not really so much of a, I don't know, like mainstream style, trendy, you know? I try to go on the outsides of music, experiments, you know? I'm always experimenting.
Doing some cool, unique shit.
Yeah.
You're not going to hear, the beginning of his track. You already know who it is, because this is not happening.
Yeah, you're not going to hear any air horns or, like, yeah, like, some, like, weird Gucci ad-libs. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're not going to hear that. And that's, so if you guys want to check that out, definitely do so. because he did have that sweet little intro. But just kind of getting back into it, Gigs is a little music store downtown Bowmanville, and it was in a very old building. And from the second that we moved into the building,
I believe it's a historical building. I believe.
Yes.
Like Newcastle. No, Bowmanville. What am I saying? Yeah.
same. It's like
Yeah.
Bowmanville from where we're at right now. It's like 15 minutes away, so it's easy to get mixed up. But it was in historic downtown Bowmanville, so a lot of the buildings in that area, they're older buildings. They've been standing for a long time.
Yeah.
Ours was one of them. And it was standing for a long damn time. And the second you walked into the basement, you figured it out pretty quick that it was no building.
Yep.
Them damn stairs.
Oh man, those stairs, man, they're not even like planks of wood. Like they probably just cut down a tree and just made them into stairs.
Well, that's literally what
Like,
they were too.
Literally pieces of wood.
Like it's just literally that it's like they just took a tree, they just cut it in half, and okay, there's your stairs.
There you go.
I mean, it was cool.
The
but
lowest basement, like certain parts, oh my, like you knocking your head off stuff. Oh, the lights dangling down, like, oh, sketchy wiring.
It was straight out of a horror movie, like straight out of a
yeah.
horror movie.
Real deal.
And I know that just from talking with you, I know that you had some paranormal experiences in Gigs, because I mean, I had a shit ton, and I have a bunch I want to talk about, and I know you had some too.
Oh man, not just even in the basement, like upstairs, just in the back when vacuuming at the end of the shift and stuff. Oh man, like some crazy spooky shit happened there. There's definitely some spirits in there.
Oh, for
I don't
sure.
even really fully believe in that stuff, but you experience something, and just like that, it's changed. Like your perspective, man. Just getting into it though, like first story. Okay, let me think about this. So TJ usually would send me down to cut up boxes from after a stock. Like we'd stock up on guitars or like amps and whatnot, and I'd be in the basement cutting up boxes, crushing them down so we could put them out on the road. And
Gotta recycle, folks.
yeah. And I think it was probably about the second time I did this, and TJ had the great idea to tell me that this place used to be a crematorium. I was okay to go down there before and just, cut up boxes, listen to my music, not even thinking about all that stuff. As soon as TJ tells me about that, I'm just looking around, anything that drops, something just sounds weird. Oh, man, I'm just ready to dash upstairs. I don't want to be like eaten by some ghost or something, Well, so I'm down there. This is probably about the third time I'm down there. And usually there's a door that goes to the back half of the basement, and there's basically no lights over there. There is a light over there, but it's usually turned off. And I throw the boxes in like the crawl space to the right of the door. So I just finished filling a whole box of boxes, I guess, and I'm putting it over there, and I just hear this like weird like throbbing sound coming from the back. And I'm like, what is that noise? Like, I'm like, is there like a boiler back there or something? Like it must be that or something. I go back, I'm listening to my music, and it seems like it's getting a little bit louder. And I'm like, okay, there's something got to be going on up there. So I turn on the light, and I crawl back in the crawl space a bit, and I'm like, the sound just goes away. I was like, what's going on here? So I go back upstairs. I'm like, TJ, do you hear this like weird throbbing noise coming from downstairs? And TJ's just like, I don't know. He's online. He's looking at, I don't know. I think you were looking at.
I was totally doing my job.
Yes. Okay, that's the only important thing.
Totally was doing my job.
And I said, yeah. You hear this? He's like, no, man, no. So I go back downstairs. I keep going. And I go back to put the boxes there again. And the boxes are moved. Like,
Yeah.
I kid you not. Like, I put them on the edge, right close to the door. And it's like pushed back farther to the wall. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of a little bit spooky. A little bit more spooky. Next day, I don't know. I just kind of put it in the back of my head. I didn't really think about it later. Next couple days, not anything out of the ordinary happening. And I think it was probably like the fifth time that I was down there, fifth or sixth time that I was down there, that I started hearing like, I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy, but
You're not. That's why I wanted someone else who'd experienced stuff like this, like not to derail your story, but just because I'm like,
oh yeah,
because for the longest time, like I was like, I'm crazy, but no, he's not crazy, like straight up.
yeah, you just hear weird things down there, and just things out of place, lights flickering. Oh my, that would just happen randomly, and I'm like, okay, that's probably just like a power surge or something, just in the back of my head. But sometimes you're down there and you're just like, you get to thinking, you're like, man, like this is kind of weird.
Oh yeah, like stuff. Well, even what would trip me out is because the first experience I had with kind of a weird happenings at gigs, and this was very early on, this before the store even opened, because we were doing some renovations, and some of these stories, some of you regular listeners might be like, I told the story before about this or whatever, but just for the sake of the Ghost of Gigs Music, I'm going to retell some of them. Some of them might be in a bit more detail now, because now that I'm not as scared to talk about it, because before I was so scared to talk about some of them, it's like, man, shit creeped me out to this day.
Yeah,
but we were doing some renovations, and things would happen like what Izzi was talking about, like lights would flicker and stuff would just randomly fall, and I'm like, whatever, I didn't think anything of it. At this point, I was completely 100% ghosts don't exist. There's no supernatural stuff happening in the world, nothing. Fully straight heart, nothing. And the one day, I'm in the back area where our lesson rooms were, because the store was kind of divided into two parts. And I'm chilling in the back. We had just done some drywalling out front of the storefront. So we had it sectioned off with like a tarp, and it was taped.
Yeah.
So I'm chilling in the back, and we had a radio out front. And I'm chilling, hanging out, doing my thing. And I thought Rob, who was my boss, shout outs to Rob. If by chance you're listening to this, how's it going? And I'm standing in the back. I'm sweeping or doing whatever I'm doing, working very, very hard. And all of a sudden, the radio just cranks up. I'm talking like from like 30% to like 120. Like the speakers are distorting. That's how loud it was. And I'm just like, so I yell out front, "Oh, you like the song?" And nothing. And I'm like, so I look and he's not out there. So I'm like, oh, what the hell? Like, I figured he must have just left. So as I walk out the door, I run into Rob in the alley. Now,
Oh my gosh.
to quickly explain this, we had a back door, and then there was a front of the store. Interconnecting between them was this alley. Yeah. And it was a pretty long alley. It maybe take you a minute to walk down. So like, it's not like a quick jolt and you're out front. So he had to have been already in the alleyway.
Yeah.
And
then cars through there, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And there was like
pretty big.
going up to the apartment. So it was just, it was a long enough of a walk that take you about a minute or so to get to the back. And I walk into him, and he's just like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "You like the song? What?" And that's when I realized he's got a cigarette in his hand. And he's like almost done the cigarette. And I'm like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Did you just turn the radio up in the front of the store?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Someone did." So we automatically like, "Oh shit, like there's someone." So we run out front, unlock the door, rip the door open. Nothing. He runs over to the radio, turns it down, and just we're standing there looking around, and nothing. And there's no footprints, because there was like this dust on the floor, right, from the drywalling and that, and there's no footprints in the dust or anything, except for the ones that were clearly ours. Yeah. And he's just looking around, and he just looks at me, and he's like, "That's weird." And I was like, "Yeah," and I didn't really think anything of it, but looking back, I'm like, that was
definitely some.
I don't know what they were trying to tell me, but
because I'm pretty sure Rob wouldn't be like messing around with you like that. Like,
because
he barely even knew you, basically.
Yeah. Like I'm just like, oh, because he asked me the same thing as, "Oh, you like the song?" I said, "Well, I was in the back." So that's why like we both ran up front thinking someone got in somehow and they're messing with us, but nah. And that was my first encounter there. Like, and I was just like, man, that was messed up. That was messed up. Did I ever tell you? Because I don't know. I would tell co-ops, not all of them, but you were the first one that I kind of like really bonded with, and I was like, hey, I would tell someone, I'm like, oh yeah, like the place is haunted. And the reason, because at this point, when you were around, like I had some encounters, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually until a little bit after. Well, actually, I guess it was around the same time because Hastings can also attest to this.
Yeah.
Because he had a couple encounters.
He would just be like looking at us, talking about like ghosts and stuff. He'd be kind of shaking his head, and then that
he's
one
just not,
time
he's
where
believing it still, yeah.
but I'm pretty sure he did experience something. He probably just didn't even really care.
Times, yeah.
He's like,
One, he has that's like because I was gonna have him kind of join in on this, but he was like, man, like he's like, I've got a couple maybe quick stories, but he's like nothing that's. He's still to this day. He's like, nah, man, like it's not happening. But I would tell co-ops and like, oh yeah, like the place is haunted. And the reason for it is I had one encounter that now to this day, it is.
This is ridiculous.
I don't know if I ever told you this story, but
I think you told me about this at work about
the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Because I know I've told this story before on the show, but it's been a while. For any fans of the Ultimate Gravity Show, you heard me tell this story on their podcast, but I now say that this is the most concrete evidence I have in my personal life to paranormal, supernatural, ghostly beings 100% being real. Because to this day, in my own mind, the only way I can logically explain it to myself is he was a ghost or a spirit or whatever, or magic, or I don't know. Because it messes with me. And what happened, this was like I think my second or third, or it might have even been my first shift alone working at the store. And it was on a weekend, it wasn't that busy. And on a, Saturday afternoon, the downtown Bonneville core we were at was never really that busy.
Yeah.
So this particular day, no cars on the street. All the lessons were done for the day. There's no cars on the street. There's not much people walking around. Most of the stores are closed.
9.
Oh, it was later in the afternoon. So it was
okay.
about it's about 1, 2 o'clock somewhere in that
Oh,
ballpark.
all right, yeah.
And
That's like the dead stuff.
yeah, it was really dead. We were only open till 4. So like it was just that really slow time. And this particular day it was like really slow. So I was like, so it's okay. Well, I'm going to work on a guitar. So I had my back turned and I'm working on this guitar. And we had a buzzer. Every time the door would open, it'd beep, and it was without fail every time. Beep, 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 beep.
Oh my gosh, so annoying.
Yeah. Try when you're carrying in like boxes of stuff, and it just beep, 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 beep. And finally,
The carpet guy, he'd open the door just enough that would trigger it, and then put the door a little bit closed so it'd trigger it again. So it'd be like beep, beep, beep. Beep 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 beep, and he's trying to move like the carpet in the entrance. Oh my gosh,
it's like, dude,
so annoying.
Let's just. How about you? Well, finally, I got smart and I started propping the door open because I got so sick of it. That it would just rarely go off anyway.
Yeah.
It'd be like, screw you, man. But so I have my back turned and I'm working on a guitar and I'm like, no one's gonna sneak up on me or anything. Like, there's no, it can't happen. So I'm standing there doing my thing, focusing on this guitar or whatever, and I turn around to grab something and there's this elderly gentleman standing there, and I mean, I just about died. Like he scared the crap out of me. And right away, he's like, oh, God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. And I'm just like dumbfounded. Like, how did you get in here without me hearing you?
Oh, my God.
Because without fail, that door beeps every time. But I just went, oh, like the buzzer must be broken. So
no.
He's just like, oh, like I'm scared. I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'm a professional. How's it going, TJ? Yeah, how you doing? And I'm just like, oh, what can I help you with? And he begins to tell me, oh, I'm not a musician or a guitar player or anything, but he says, I like to consider myself a bit of a local historian. And I just wanted to come welcome you guys to the historic downtown or whatever. And I'm like, oh, nice guy. I'll chat with anybody for hours, So I'm like, oh, yeah. And we kind of start chatting. And he says, do you know the history of this building? And I said, yeah. And we were talking about, like, it was like a bakery before, and blah, 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 blah. And he starts talking
I remember
about,
hearing about that.
Yeah, he starts talking about, like, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years back or whatever. And I didn't even know the building was that old, but he's going on about it. And
yeah, Bowmanville's pretty old, actually. Yeah.
Especially that building. Like, I didn't realize how
back.
old that building was.
Yeah.
But then there's the official report, and then there's, the unofficial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because I never saw any documentation that it was actually a crematorium. But anyway. So then we get to kind of I was about to say, and I've heard rumors.
Run that back. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't want to tell people that are living there
Well, yeah, of
that
course,
it was a crematorium.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
probably why they don't.
I mean,
make it,
that's
like
what
general knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
No, but and that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
So we start talking about it, and I kind of get, and I've heard rumors that, and he cut me off, and he said that there was a crematorium, and I said, yeah, oh yeah, like I started chuckling, and this gentleman, he was standing up straight, healthy complexion, not very stern face, just a really friendly looking guy. And at that moment, he put both his hands on the counter and he leaned forward. He looked me right in the eye. Shit. And he just, most stern face I've ever seen a human being. It was real. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
You crazy son of a bitch. Like this is just taking a turn for the worse.
Classic TJ.
And he, for the record, I didn't say crazy son of a bitch, but it is what it is. So I'm just like, okay. And he starts going on for probably about 10, 15 minutes about how it was a crematorium. And he starts talking about like the history of it and why it was a crematorium and like the hospital and blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to go into all that. There's no point, but
I'm pretty sure you can still see like the chimney.
that is I used to think that, but no, that one was built.
That was actually built later?
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it was
All
completely renovated from when it would have been a crematorium, or that's from what I can gather anyway.
Oh, right.
But it was an older chimney, but it wasn't that old. So we're talking, and I'm just like, oh yeah, and he says to me, and while he's talking, the thing that I didn't really realize this until I thought about it more recently, but as he was talking, he started kind of getting clammy and sweaty. And his complexion started to kind of change a little bit. Like he started getting pale. Yeah. So I'm watching this guy talking, and I'm like, I start getting concerned about his health at this point. So I'm like, he's an elderly gentleman. Maybe he's not well. I don't know. He could have been in his 80s or 90s. I don't know, man. Like
that old.
But he could have been
man.
70. Like you know what I mean? Like you just don't know anymore. But we're chatting, and he's getting more almost agitated.
Yeah.
Talking about the history of the crematorium, and I said to him like, oh, like, sir, are you okay? Like, you're getting kind of clammy and sweaty, and he, yeah, I'm fine. And he kind of looks away and he looks back at me, and the whole time he's talking, he hasn't stopped staring at me, and I'm starting to get a little uncomfortable because I'm like, okay, like, what's this guy's deal? And then he says, I asked him before if he had been in the basement before. And he said, oh, yeah, and like, years ago. And his exact words, and again, didn't think anything about this, but he said, oh, not in this lifetime. And he chuckled.
Oh, man.
So I said, oh, he's an old dude. I said, oh, I haven't been there in this lifetime, kid. So, and he starts, your basement. That room you guys have in the back. And I'm like, he's talking about the boiler room. I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's where the chimney or oven or whatever it used to be. And I'm like, okay. He's like, the crawl space. And I'm like, okay, that right there freaked the shit out of me. So I'm like, how would he know that?
Yeah, that's a pretty unique basement.
Like, I'm like, that's not, it hasn't been there forever. And he's just like, yeah, like blah, blah, blah. And he says, I bet you've seen some weird stuff happen down there. And at this point, I kind of had, but nothing too abnormal.
Yeah.
Weird noises and that, but nothing that would just freak me out.
It's like you think it's like just old or something,
Yeah.
like old wiring or something, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, lights turning off and shit. But I'm just like, whatever, man, yeah. And he's just like, yeah, be careful down there. And I just kind of went, oh, I will, And he's just kind of, he was trailing on and repeating himself. And I was like, okay, this guy clearly like isn't well. Like I need to just take this for what it is. And so I kind of went back to what I was doing and still listening to him and engaging with him, but at this point he's trailing on about all this other shit, and he stops and he kind of breaks eye contact with me for a second, and he looks at his watch, which I'm not even sure the watch was working, to be honest with you, and he goes, oh well, I guess I better be getting back. It's getting late. I look at the clock. It's like 2:05. I'm like, all right, man. Well, thanks for the history lesson and coming in. Like it was good talking to you. And he doesn't say anything, and he very slowly starts shuffling away. And keeps looking back, keeps stopping and looking back at me. I'm just like, okay, like this is getting ridiculous. And he gets to the door and he stops and he turns and we had this railing there and he puts his hands on the railing like he's leaning all of his body weight on this railing. And at this point I'm like, okay, like this guy needs medical attention. Like,
old man.
and he stands up right straight, like breathe new life, stands up right straight. Well, good luck. You'll need it. Opens the door, buzzer doesn't go off, walks out the door, door shuts, buzzer doesn't go off. Oh, man. And he stops, looks left, looks right, turns left, and starts walking at a fairly normal pace. And I'm standing there like, the hell just happened? And I'm like, okay, no, like I need to like make sure this guy's okay. Like something's going on. And so I go to walk outside. 30 seconds it maybe passed. I go to walk outside, open the door, friggin' buzzer goes off. Scares the shit out of me. And I'm like, okay, so clearly it's must have malfunctioned or something. I walk and I turn the corner onto the street. Maybe 37 seconds had passed. And this guy was gone. There was no cars on the street. No cars were going down the right side of the street. There were none up the street. And I went, okay. I go to both the apartment doors that were in that vicinity. And they're both locked. Yeah. The Amish furniture store that was right next to us, they were open. And I'm looking for this guy. And I'm like, what the hell? And I walk in there and I say, hey, did you see an elderly gentleman walk by here? And the guy's like, no. I haven't seen anyone all day. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, thanks. And I look down the alley and I'm like, there's no way he could walk that fast. There's no way. So I run inside, and this is where it gets like, yeah. I walk. If at this point you're like, seriously, I'm like, no. This is the big juicy part. I walk inside and like, oh, I'm checking the cameras. Pull out the camera, and I'm rewatching his encounter in the store. It was maybe a 10-minute encounter.
Yeah.
And just I'm watching his body language change from upright, happy-go-lucky guy to just like clenched over, uncomfortable, like almost angry. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I watch him walk out and I watch him turn out of view of that camera. So I switch to the other camera that's on the street. Yeah. And walk. He stops and he looks up at the camera, walks out of frame of that camera, and there is a 1-2 second window where I can't see you. Yeah. The brick wall's maybe about 2-3 feet wide that I can't see you from the other camera in the alley. Yeah. And that's it. Gone. And I rewatched that footage probably 13, 14 times, thinking, no, like there must be malfunction in the camera. That's so I ran outside and I'm waving my hand in front of the camera, and because it was a motion-centric camera, right? Yeah. So I'm like waving my hand in front of the camera, and I'm like, there must have been a malfunction. Nothing. And to this day, I have not been able to, in my brain, think of a logical explanation aside from the fact that he just disappeared. Oh, man. And it messes with me to this day. Because I don't know, where did he go? What was he? Who was he? So, yeah, that's my disappearing man story.
That is
intense. I wish I still would have access to that video, because I tried to save it and I couldn't, because I would love to be able to, like, because some people have called me out like, really, dude, come on, like, what a stupid story. And I'm like, what do I have to gain from lying about that?
Literally.
Aside from sleep, because when I got home that night, like, I'm sitting there like,
once you like witness something like that, you just like sit there for a while and you're like, either I'm gonna think about this for a while and just like try to piece it together, or I'm just gonna like drop it. I'm gonna be like, okay, it's just something weird that happens. No, that is like like you talked to that guy for a while.
And it wasn't like it was like, a 5-minute encounter. It was a 10 solid minutes of us having communications.
Yeah. Just like random person coming to the store asking questions. Yeah. It happens regularly.
And just disappear. What? How do you explain that? And some people have, I've talked with some people about it who are like, straight. No such thing as straight. And they're just like, man, he probably walked into a car that was waiting in the alley. And I said, but no, because there's nothing on the camera 10, 15 minutes before that. And it would capture it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, guys, let's say hypothetically here for a second that you have a business, you're in a band, you're a podcaster like me, you have a YouTube show, and you need some awesome new merch, business cards, logos, even maybe some t-shirts done up. Well, you need to look no further than my man, Mr. Jason Reese, over at Jaybird Digital Arts. Jason is offering a special 10% off discount just for listeners of The Hodder Show when you mention The Hodder Show upon contacting him. But what exactly does he do? Well, Jason does t-shirts, posters, album design, tickets, photo manipulation. You guys still with me? Advertising, business stationery, mailers, brochures, fine art, and anything else you can imagine, Jaybird Digital Arts can create it. Jason has done all of the t-shirts, logos, banners, and all social media stuff for both The Hodder Show and for Hodder Guitar Services, so I can promise that you will love and be inspired by what Jason comes up with. You can contact him on the web at www.jaybird, that's Jaybird, digitalarts.com, or you can search for him on Facebook and Instagram under the Jaybird Digital Arts handle. Search hashtag Jaybird Digital Arts for a look at all of his awesome and unique work.
There's just something about that building. It's just so weird. Like, even that crawl space in the basement, it's like there's another room in the back that you can fully stand up straight in.
Yeah.
And then there's this, like, probably what, like 20 foot, maybe a little bit less than 20 feet.
Yeah.
Crawl space, which you literally have to crawl, basically, or like crouch really far down. And
In the crawl space, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little, like,
It was legit a crawl space. Like you crawled through the basement in the crawl space to get to this little boiler room we had.
I'm thinking, like, that must have been, like, where they must have had, like, some sort of cart to, like, roll the body to, like, the back, and there's, like, this one guy standing in the back, like, I don't know, putting the bodies in. Like, they probably didn't do it as frequently as I'm saying, but, you know, like, when they had
Talking about like it was a daily occurrence. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, the whole crematory thing, to touch on that really quick before you continue, that part of it, to me, I have never had any evidence of any kind, aside from word of mouth, that that's what it was. So take all of that with what you will.
It's a
just
grain
for
of,
the
with a
record.
grain of salt. We're just it's theoretical because
It makes more sense
yeah.
because ghosts definitely were in that building.
Yeah.
But you were talking about in the crawl space area
What
there?
about what about like in the back there? There was like these posts in the ground, basically, like places where there was like something, like I don't know, like some sort of
Almost
I don't
like a
know
tree-
if that's
almost-
where the
almost looks like a
boiler
tree.
was. You know what I'm saying? Like there was like kind of like holes in the ground.
Well, because the boiler room itself, there was still a boiler in the boiler room.
Yeah,
In that back room, but
Yeah.
because that's where the old man told me where through the crawl space, that's where he told me where it all was.
Shit.
But what you're talking about is on the other side of the basement where we kept all the guitar boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
That was just old foundation in that. Like it's all been reinforced in that, but that was
okay.
old out foundation in that. But talking about the basement in general, though, I was going to save this for the last kind of bit of stories I have, but I'm going to save the best ones I have for last because it's kind of end off on a more funny note. And of course, I know you had experiences with some of these ghosts, so feel free to chime in at any time. The basement ghosts of gigs music. This is almost like a sub podcast in this here because there was a handful of ghosts. And again, I consider myself a pretty average, run-of-the-mill, everyday Joe. You know, I work hard. I love my girlfriend and my family and my friends. I come home, pay my taxes, so on and so forth. Yeah. And, you know, I don't believe in anything super crazy or anything like that. But I'm telling you right now, freaking ghosts were in gigs music, and they were ghosts in that basement, and I saw them on more than one occasion.
Oh, my God.
And these particular ghosts, and I am sure you will have had encounters with them, every single ghost that was in that basement wanted to cause harm. And when I say that, I mean that the second I would walk in that basement, I would not feel safe.
Yeah, that you definitely had a vibe of something
Like just
benevolent. Or
yeah,
something.
something's going on down
Something
there.
strange.
And every once in a while we'd have people down there, like just kind of as like a, you know, like a regular good customer. Like Rob would be like, "Oh, you want to see the bass or whatever?" Like, and Rob always kind of I would have loved to have got his opinion on some of this stuff, but I think he kind of was this kind of like Brandon, where he's like, dude, nah.
He was kind of like
he would kind of joke around about
I think
it.
he probably like. I don't know. Probably experienced some things, but
I
kind of
know
like,
he did.
Shook it off, kind of like,
Yeah.
oh
Well,
man,
he's
I'm
a-
gonna be called crazy if I talk about this stuff.
He's,
you know? I'm an older guy, you know.
He's the tough. He's the tough guy.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
just not saying that as an insult. Legit, like
Yeah,
he's just like, oh no, it's nothing. No, I'll fight a ghost. I don't give a shit. You know, like, I'll fight a ghost. I don't give a shit. That's Robbie. But
Rob fight a ghost.
I'd put money on Rob too.
I
Rob's gonna fight a
definitely
ghost.
put money on Rob.
But like we're in that basement, and there's something going on. Like there's this negative, malevolent force, and I've talked with people who are big ghost believers and ghost hunters and that, and they've told me, excuse me, there's 3 types of ghosts you'll run into. There's the kind of neutral spirit that they don't care.
Yeah.
They're hanging out. They're there for whatever they're there for. Leave them alone. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
There's the spirits who just like to almost like not like a good spirit, but like, there's like the good spirit. Technically there's 4. There's like the good spirit that's you'll be visited by a relative or things of that nature.
Yeah,
They're not there for long periods of time. They're there for one reason, then they're gone.
Yeah.
The neutral spirit is just there for whatever, they're hanging out. Then there's like the chaotic spirits, which just like to cause shit.
Yeah, like the haunt ghosts.
Yes.
Like classic haunt ghosts.
Like they're not there to hurt nobody. They're not there to exact their worldly desires or anything. They're just there to
they're just to mess with
they're
shit.
just there. They're there to knock stuff off walls and open and slam doors.
Which is still very, very creepy.
yeah.
Like,
And I will get to that a little later because there is one ghost in particular that I literally named, and he followed me, and I know Izzy knows what I'm talking about.
yeah, oh my gosh. I knew you were going to talk about this.
Oh, it's the grand finale.
Yeah.
But and then there's the other type of spirit you run into, which is the ones that horror movies are made about. Yeah. These spirits and ghosts that want to harm people. They want, for whatever reason, whatever happened in their death, they were so wrong that they want to take revenge on people. And I'm telling you right now, those are the spirits that were in that basement.
Okay, quick though. That last ghost that you're talking about, definitely it moved things around so you'd like trip over things.
Yeah.
You know, like randomly you'd be like reaching back for your knife or something and it's in a different spot. You go to sit down, it's there. Like that's
Randy.
so creepy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll talk about Randy, don't worry.
Or just like messing with your electronics. Like I'd be playing music off my phone while I'm cutting up boxes,
just turn
and all of
off.
a sudden it'd be like, it either turn off or I just hear like some sort of interference or something, and it's like, what is this? Like,
See, interference and stuff like that never bothered me because I'd be like, that could be so many different things.
yeah,
But
when it happens regularly in
Yeah.
the basement,
and only be in the basement.
that's when you're like thinking, okay, my phone is an Android, so it's not always buggy,
Yeah.
like Apple.
It's not an iPhone, folks.
Yeah.
Shots fired at iPhone. But yeah, like I know what you're saying. Like, but these ghosts in that freaking basement, to kind of end off the more creepy talks of this, there was 4 of them that I saw at least 4, 5, 6 times, depending. The one I only saw twice, and thank God I only saw them twice. Because if I saw them a third time, I was probably not going to be on this earth anymore. I'm telling you right now. I've never had a feeling in my life like I did with this. But the first ghost that I saw, there was a couple mirrors that were downstairs. I don't know why. They were just there.
Yeah, there's a lot of just random things down there,
Just
yeah.
tenants from before leaving shit there and that, and little mirrors and just nothing like, not like old mirrors either, just like little plastic mirrors, like just weird shit. And there was one mirror in particular that was sitting on the shelf, and I don't know why it was always sitting in this really weird spot. It just was always there. I never moved it, and probably my, I want to say like my 7th or 8th time in that basement alone. It was early in the morning. I was there alone doing something.
Yeah.
This is before we had co-ops. And I'm downstairs doing my thing, and I hear some noises, and I'm like, whatever, it's no building. And I was bending over, and the mirror was here, like at my eye level. And I stood up, mirror's right at my eye level, and over my shoulder, I see full blown the face of a middle-aged man, brown hair, of big bushy beard, piercing brown eyes, and he's just staring at me. And he doesn't look angry. He doesn't look anything. Yeah. And he was there for maybe a second and a half. Gone. I blinked and he was gone. And I just went, okay, I'm losing it. Yeah, whatever.
I gotta go back upstairs.
Yeah. So, but my ass went upstairs. Yeah. I was like, I don't care. I'm waiting till something happens because I'm not going back down there again until Rob gets here.
Oh man.
And this particular gentleman, I had 3 or 4 more run-ins with him. 2 of the other ones were at the mirror, same situation. But by the 3rd time, now he's getting mad. When I kind of turned and looked in the mirror, again, he was over my shoulder. This time, he's like looking at me. And he just has this look on his face. Just like, boy, you better get the fuck out of here. And I'm just like, yo, like, I'm not. And like, I literally spoke. Like, my ass was like, I'm not here to cause any harm or trouble. I'm just, I'm not here to disturb nobody, you know, like, I'm just doing my thing down here. And the last time I had an encounter with this guy, I was in the crawl space. And this really, I don't like telling the story. I'm in the crawl space. And I'm literally crawling on my hands and knees through this because I was in like the far back corner of the crawl space, which I hated going in. I don't remember what I was doing, but I was getting a box or something that fell. And I felt this presence. And I'm like I literally was like, I'm like, someone's in this crawl space with me. And from what I can recall, I believe one of my old part-timers was upstairs at the time. So I thought it was him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing down here? Get upstairs. And I turn and Izzy, I swear to you, I'm looking you right in the eye when I'm telling you this. I fucking turned around and there was a dude standing there.
Oh my gosh.
Like, because you know how like there was the crawl space and there was like the little dip?
Yeah.
That motherfucker was standing there looking at me.
Okay, was that at the far end or like the one near the door going?
The one near the door going up. Because there was like that little, because there was like a dip and then you went up like a foot or so.
To the crawl space.
And then you actually have to crawl.
About. Yeah.
And he was standing and I think just looking at me. Stern look on his face and he just was looking at me all mad. And I'm just like, again, maybe a second. And I blinked and he was gone. And I went and I started crawling and I went to go walk up the stairs and I felt the fucking hand on my shirt. And that was it. I was done. I didn't go into that basement for like 2 months. I was done.
Man. There is some weird things going on in that, just the crawl space.
Yeah.
Like I've had times just, just going back there, just take a look out of curiosity. Cause it's an interesting little basement to look at, It's like, oh man, looks kind of creepy. I'm looking back at the back, like the very far end, and there's one light farther back there, and I'm pretty sure the switch is back there.
It was when you there was
the very far back.
The one light would always be on because it had to be. It was a safety light or whatever. But the main light that you could actually see you had to go in that crawl space to turn it on.
Yeah.
I would always have my phone and light it up, whatever.
I think he was off that day just for some random reason, like just in the crawl space, and I don't know. I didn't really think much of it. It was probably someone just forgot to turn it on or something.
Yeah.
But just in the far basement, I was looking back there and I'm like, man, I think I see like when you look up at stars and you look kind of to the left and you kind of can see the star, but then
you almost see
try
like a
to look
silhouette
at it,
of a star kind of thing.
like you know what I'm saying? Like in the corner of your eye, you see a light, but then when you try to look at it straight on, you can't really see it properly. It was like that. There was like this little like light in the back, and I was like, okay. I kept on like kind of looking to the side, and it was like, kind of getting brighter. So I turned my head again to look at like where the light was coming from, and it was actually shining. And I booked it upstairs. I was like, okay, like
I can't remember that. You just ran upstairs, and I'm like, "You all right, dude?" Like, and you're like,
man, I need a drink.
Yeah, like, yeah. I'm just gonna get a drink, and like, you were kind of like chilling out, and I was like,
I didn't really
you're gonna,
want to
like-
talk to you
Yeah.
about that because I was like, man, I don't even know if this is like real.
he's gonna think
like,
I'm crazy. Like, yeah. Well, that's why it's so funny now.
Yeah.
Because like now I'm just like, oh yeah, dude, fuck yeah, the basement was haunted. Like, and like that crawl space, the freakiest encounter I've ever had with a ghostly figure in gigs music. Like the feeling of I'm not getting out of this basement alive right now. Straight up. Again, I reiterate. I am right now I am stone cold sober. You know, I'm not a druggy type dude or whatever.
No,
if you are,
TJ
right
doesn't do
on, go
it.
on you. But I don't. So like my mind is not enhanced.
The craziest drugs he's ever done was probably Red Bulls and Monsters.
Yeah. Well, I was drinking like 3 monsters a day at one point. So let's not do that. But like, so I just, like I consider myself a very logical person.
Yeah.
And I can't. Like this happened. And
TJ is all here in this world.
yes,
He is.
I am all here in this world. I am, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But, that freaking call space, man. Because there was 3 other ghosts that I encountered. And the one that was, this is like, if you're going to believe anything I say, you believe this one. Because this, I literally felt like I was not going to leave that basement alive. And it also proves how stupid I am at the same time.
Yeah.
So the one time I'm standing near the electrical panel we had, and just to the right of that was the entrance to the crawl space.
Yeah.
Nice big open door. And I'm standing there doing something. I think the internet was out, and I'm freaking with the internet box. And I just told my head slightly to the left, and there was an elderly woman standing there. And like in the dark, I just kind of see her. I fully see her face. Yeah. And the way this woman is looking at me, very elderly woman, strangly hair, piercing, evil, dead eyes. I don't know how else to explain them.
Yeah.
Huge, open wide, like smile on her face. Teeth that are like clearly not well taken care of. And she's just staring at me with this big open wide. And I look away, blink twice, look back, still there.
Oh my
So
God.
I literally slapped myself in the face because I was like, I'm like having a stroke or something. And she was gone. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
At this point, mind you also, I will be the first to admit that I'm not a horror movie guy. I hate horror movies.
Yeah.
I have a very hyperactive imagination. And I know when it's my mind's playing tricks on me. I chalked that up to that time. I was like, okay, my mind's playing tricks on me. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So a few months go by. I have a couple encounters down there with the middle-aged dude in between this. And we had that damn mirror, that little square black mirror.
Yeah.
And I'm standing looking in the crawl space the one day, and I'm like, I wonder. I got smart. I grabbed the mirror and I hold it up in front of me. I'm holding it in front of my face,
So you can see
looking back
behind you.
into the crawl space.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm really smart. Mind you, the store was closed.
Oh my God.
And I was there. I want to say that one of the teachers was still there packing up. I think Dave was still there packing up.
What, 7, 8?
It was like 8. Yeah, it was like 8:15 or something. No, you know who it was? It was Mark.
Mark?
Can you remember Mark?
Yeah.
Shouts to you, Mark, if by chance you're listening to this.
Great guy.
He was like, oh, you're thinking of Steve. Mark was the vocal teacher.
Oh my.
But yeah,
okay.
yeah.
We're
Great
thinking
guy,
two
very
different guys.
extremely talented.
They're all really
Best
talented.
interview I've ever had. He walked in and just went, hi there, Michael Fame. And I was like, well, you're hired. Anyway. So.
Oh yeah, I know
exactly
who you're talking about now.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy he used to like. Where was he from? Like, wasn't he from?
Oshawa, I think.
Yeah, he used to always take the bus.
Yes, yeah.
Very interesting guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fun.
Different color hair, you know.
Oh, yeah. He was always so, he was awesome, dude.
Really cool.
But, so I was like, okay, someone else is in the building. Nothing's going to happen. And I hold this damn mirror. And again, I look away, I look back, and again, to reiterate my point, I'm staring it straight in the face. This fucking woman was behind me. The exact same look on her face. This really,
Kind of like a
Y-
grin.
y- did you ever did
smile.
you ever see the horror movie Lights Out by chance? Because the only thing I can explain it to, if you guys are familiar with this, basically
I think I have seen.
there was this like creature. I think it was this movie. There was a picture of it going around for the internet for a while, where it was like this girl turned on her light at night.
Oh,
And there was like this thing
I know exactly
sitting
what you're
next to her
talking
bed, and it had this, and it
Like she
wasn't.
turn on the light and there's nothing there. You turn it off and it's there. Yeah.
No, like she turned it off. Like she turned on her light, there was nothing. Turned it off, and then
Yeah.
turned it back on, and it was there.
Oh, okay. I know exactly.
And
what
just
you're
it's
talking
just
about. Yeah.
the only thing I can describe it to was this creature where it had like no eyes, but it had this really huge, massive, open, wide mouth, but no teeth. And it was just like staring, and it's freaky horror movie, whatever. But that's the only thing I can explain it to. This look she was giving me, and I slowly put the mirror down, took a couple steps, looked down at the mirror, and I saw like the bottom of her face, like she's standing behind me, and I'm like, I'm about to die. Like,
Oh my God.
I am
Sorry for
about to
laughing,
die.
but
No,
that
I
just
mean it's
sounds
funny
kinda
now.
funny, but, like-
And again, I take 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps, and I feel the air start to move behind me. And then I start running to the stairs. And again, this time it was my lower shirt, grabbed and pulled. I get loose. I run up the stairs. I slam the door shut. And at this point, I hear Mark in the back go, "Oh, geez," like, because I mean, and he comes running out to make sure everything's all right, and I'm standing there staring at the door. And Mark, if for some reason you're listening, I don't know if you remember this, but I didn't know Mark that well at that point.
Yeah.
He was still fairly new, and he's just like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks. Like it just,
Oh my God.
it really, really messed me up,
You
man.
go back to work there every single day. You'd be thinking about that. Oh yeah.
And the thing is like I would sit behind the counter on the right hand side of the counter. I would sit there right by that door to the basement every day, and
That lock was so, or like the latch on that door is so weird.
it was
Like,
so
you have to
fidgety.
slam it pretty hard to close that.
If you didn't like slam it and latch it, it would open.
It'd swing open.
But then at the same time, you'd latch it and slam it shut still, and it's still open. So it's
Yeah.
freaking ghost. But so I hope you never had any encounters with the old lady because
I don't think I had any encounters with the old lady like that. I don't know. She must have been like coming around at like weird times or
Yeah,
something. I
'cause
was only
that-
there for like certain. I remember a lot of just things being moved that you wouldn't hear being moved. You just notice it moved. It was it was strange. But then there was just things that would like, I don't know, fall off the shelves. Like
Yeah. Well,
you'd be
it's-
walking back near the shelves looking for like, I don't know why I was walking back there. It's always nice to like explore or whatever. I was like just walking
you
back
could
there
get
and I was
lost
like,
down there looking around and
Yeah.
stuff. There was always stuff down there to look at, like whether it was like ant boxes or like, oh, look at this, oh, this is cool, And then we had some stock down there, like that was like a dry stock, like stuff we had sitting around. So there was always cables and stuff like that down there. But in the basement, anytime something would fall or whatever, I always knew who it was. It was a little girl. I saw her twice. Little brown-haired girl.
man.
Not creepy looking
Man,
or
that
anything.
creeps me out even more because it's like I didn't really see anything
Yeah.
like
See,
pushing
I
stuff
saw,
off.
I saw stuff.
Okay.
I didn't see anyone push anything
Yeah.
off, but like I saw her face 2 or 3 times. And again, in that fucking mirror, I saw her face 2 or 3 times. Then once in my phone. I held up my phone to take a picture of something for Rob and just split second saw her. She's staring right at me. I blink, she's gone. I'm like, okay, that was legit. So I always chalked it up to her because there was always stuff on the lower shelves that would get knocked off and thrown around.
That reminds me though, like I don't know, I just randomly remember this. I think this was probably about the second time you were showing me around in the basement, and you were saying, "Oh yeah, there's like you're kind of joking around. Oh yeah, there is ghosts,
There's
blah,
ghosts.
blah,
Because at that point, I was still in denial.
blah." We're walking around the back. There's like I don't know, a bunch of guitar boxes, some drum pieces and stuff. And when we walked in, there's like I think there was like this. this like I don't know what type of guitar it was. I don't even think it was like. I think it was like probably from like Walmart or something.
Oh, you're talking
But it
about
was
those
just
old broken guitars that were down there?
Some kids' guitar.
Yeah, there was a couple broken guitars down there that were just garbage.
And I remember you're like, oh yeah, look at this guitar, blah, blah, and we were like joking about how good it was when it was actually like really terrible. You're like kind of playing it. You put it back down on the stand. We're walking back to the far end of the basement where like the end of the shelves are and like a bunch more of the boxes are. And you're talking to me, and all we hear is thump.
I remember this. I'm grinning because I remember this.
You just look at me, and we just don't say anything for a second. I was like, "Did you hear that?" You're like, "Yeah." And then TJ, you're like, "Yeah, let's go back upstairs." So we're walking back around, and the same guitar you had up. I don't know if it was just. I'm pretty sure you put it down
I never
one of
in
those lock-in
Never in my
guitar
life have I
cases.
ever put a guitar on a stand and it fallen ever. Because it's very hard to do that unless you're standing.
But it was
on a
one of
even
those that you
surface.
like put in the stand, and then you put the
the little plastic piece you locked. Yeah,
that was off, and the guitar was on its side, and I was like, that is really strange. I don't know. Like second day at gigs, I was like, okay, do I really want to work here?
no, run.
Run. Yeah. But yeah, TJ's a really cool guy, so I had to stick around.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look at this
if
awesome
TJ wasn't as cool as he was, which is impossible. I probably would have not been working there.
Yeah.
I would have been out of there pretty fast.
Well, if you had the encounter with the last ghost of the basement, and thinking about it, this might have been the creepiest encounter I had down there. Now, actually, I think about it because it was subtle, and it was not creepy, but then really creepy.
Yeah, like you think about it later.
Yeah,
it's
it was
creepy.
like, what the fuck did that mean?
Shit.
Downstairs. This was actually later too. Like this was like a few months before the store closed.
Yeah.
And it was the last ghostly encounter I had in the basement. Because during my entire time packing up the store to leave, nothing. Everything was cool. Except for Randy. We'll get to him in just a second. We'll get to him in a second. We're going to end off with a bang with this, I promise.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm downstairs doing my thing. And I was down there for a while that morning. I can't remember what I was doing, but I was, and I was standing there doing my thing. I'm working on boxes or something. I'm trying to find something. And I turn around, and in the blackness of the crawl space, standing in the kind of the doorway, I see the silhouette of a woman. And at this point, I had encounters with Granny, and I had encounters with the dude, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Like,
I got this again.
And like, I'm looking, and I'm like, and it's the full silhouette of a woman, like a full-grown woman. And I'm kind of like, huh. I didn't feel, because the second I would see anything down there, I would feel like I need to go right now. But I didn't feel that. I was like, didn't think anything of it. A couple days later, I'm down there doing the same thing. And I turn around, same thing, silhouette. And I'm like, what the? Like, am I just like losing my mind? So I turn on the light, nothing. Yeah. Turned off the light, nothing. Okay. Go back to my business, look back again and again. I kind of see the silhouette. And I'm like, what the? This is. So, of course, because I'm really smart, I grab that damn mirror again. Mind you, at this point, the mirror had a nice crack in it from when I dropped it before. So, 7 years of bad luck for this guy. But whatever. I don't believe in that kind of shit, though, just for the record.
That's a whole nother level of superstition.
See, I don't believe in it. Quick, really stupid, random, funny segue. One time when I was working with my old man, we had this massive mirror we had to, like, carry down a flight of stairs. It was going in the garbage. Yeah. And the only way we could figure we could get it, because it was like a huge wall mirror. Yeah. And we couldn't carry it down the stairs. So the only way we figured we could get it is by breaking it. Mm-hmm. And no one wanted to break it. I went, fuck it, gave him the hammer, and I just smashed the shit out of it. Huge mirror. The guy's like, that's like 30 years of bad luck. And I'm like, I'm 14, I don't really care. So yeah, I don't believe in certain superstitions, just for the record.
Yeah. That whole black cat stuff.
Yeah. No.
Walking under umbrellas.
Under a ladder.
Under ladders, yeah. Opening umbrellas inside, weird
stuff
like
just
that.
Stupid stuff. I don't believe in that shit.
That's
But
dumb.
so I'm like, okay. And I'm like, am I really going to do this to myself again? And I hold up the mirror, and I don't see anything. Okay. Is what it is. Go upstairs. And I had to come back down for something. And I walk over, and I had the mirror just sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
And I walk back over, and I kind of go, fuck, all right. Lift it up again, and this time I see, clear as day, as clearly as I see Izzy standing in front of me right now. Sitting in front of me right now. I see a totally normal-looking, blonde-haired woman, blue eyes, fair skin, looks completely healthy. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel unsafe or threatened.
You
and
just
I'm
thought
like,
it was another person.
I'm just kind of like, okay. Like, and at this point, I completely accepted the fact that there were spirits in that basement, so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at her, and I went to, like, I'm like, because it was probably a good 2-3 seconds went by.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is the longest one I've had. So I'm like, am I about to say something? Like, am I literally, is this going to happen? So I go to say something, and this fucking bitch pulls her hand up to her lips and goes like this, the symbol for shh.
Yeah.
And I put that damn mirror down, and I ran upstairs. Why were you sushing me? What was about to happen to me? Were you a decoy? I don't know.
Were you
a decoy? You were going to make me feel safe, and then all of a sudden Granny was going to crawl behind me and steal my soul.
Oh
and
my God.
Take over my body.
DJ, is that you in there?
No, it's Granny.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
so moral of the story is, folks, is Gigs Music was haunted, and if you really want to encounter some really weird shit of malevolent, angry spirits, go to the basement of 77 King Street West.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause,
You'll see some ghosts for sure. You stick around there long enough, you will see something.
You will see
or you'll
stuff.
feel something, or you'll notice something.
You can't help it.
You can't.
Or you will have encounters with my good friend. I call him my friend now.
Oh my God.
And this is the moment that most people who know Gigs have been waiting for. And yes, I'm sorry it's taken this long to get to it, but I wanted to leave off on a positive
Best
note.
for last. The best for last.
The absolute best for last, and that is my good friend, Randy the Douchebag Ghost. Here's some theme song. His name is Randy the Douchebag Ghost. He's like an 80s like theme song.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Izzy's kind of been talking about it, but I'll give the quick synopsis of who Randy the Douchebag Ghost is. Randy the Douchebag Ghost, who I will now refer to as Randy, just for simplicity, or douche. Throughout my time at Gigs Music, weird little inconveniences would happen in the store, in the actual store. Just stupid stuff, you know?
Stuff TJ would ask me about, and then he'd be like, "Oh, it's just Frank," and then I'd be like,
Well, because at first his name was Frank.
"Explain."
Because like I needed to call it something because it was pissing me off. And I wanted to start cussing him out, and I called him Frank for the longest time, and then finally I settled on Randy.
Randy.
And the story of why it's Randy, I didn't realize why I called him Randy until I had John Ward from Beyond the Wall on the show, and there was a Family Guy episode where Peter was talking about when he was being bullied as a kid by Randy Fulcher, and he's. You know, my book reports on the giving tree. He pull on his pants. Nerd, Randy.
Yeah.
And for some reason, something happened when John was in the store. Like, I think a pack of guitar strings just fell off the shelf. And he was like, dude, what the hell? And I'm like, Randy. So I had to change his name to Randy. But anyway, the first encounter I ever had with Randy, I was standing on the other side of the store. I was picking up a guitar, doing whatever I was doing. And no one else is in the store. And a freaking guitar pick pings me in the back of the head. Not hard, not like to harm me, just bink. And I go, what the hell was that? I look up at the ceiling because I'm like, oh my God, like the ceiling's collapsing. Nothing. Everything's fine. And I look around and look down on the ground, and there's a freaking guitar pick. A Gigs Music guitar pick. I have that exact pickaxe right over there because I kept it. I still have it over there. That's why I think Randy's followed me, because I have that freaking pickaxe. I probably throw it out, but whatever. And I just look at it and I'm like, I'm losing my mind, right?
Yeah.
And a few days later, I have another incident with the radio, where the radio turns up. God damn it. And then at this point, not long after is when you started co-oping. And, something would happen. Amplifiers would randomly just turn on. That was my least favorite thing he did.
You hear that like bzzz,
You just hear that
like phone interference almost.
And I would instantly know what it is. But it was just annoying because it's like, yo, like that's why I started calling him Frank, because I wanted to start cussing him out. Because anyone who knows me knows that when I get angry, I would never ever swear at a customer ever in my life.
Yeah.
But
way too nice.
afterwards, I cut a bit of a promo about it. I'd be this motherfucker. Blah, blah, blah. I'd get all mad. I mean, it's funny now. At the time, I'm sure it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
But I know that shouts to Mr. Brandon Moore, and I know you have a lot of fond memories of me just cussing people out when they left the store. Like, just again, I am a professional. I would never do that, but not so professional that I can't swear at inanimate objects after they
Everybody's
leave.
got to have a vent, you know what I'm saying?
Mine was just swearing at inanimate objects. It makes me feel better. But the one time, I'm pretty sure that the reason I started calling him Frank, and when you started probably having encounters with him as well, was we had a tube amp in the store. And tube amps, if you leave them on, not on standby, you can burn the tubes out. Yeah. Especially if you leave, even on standby, if you leave them on too long, you can burn the tubes out. Mm-hmm. And we came in one morning. I came in and I was like working on a bunch of phone calls and do all this stuff. And you would kind of doing your rounds. Yeah. And you're like, oh, yo, like this amp's on. Were you using it earlier? And I was like, no. And I ran over and it was the tube amp. And everything was fine. I ended up replacing the tubes anyway just to be safe. But, and I'm just like, God damn it. Like, stupid ghost. Like, just freaking out on the. And finally, I'm just like, oh, that freaking Frank. God damn it, Frank. And like, you're just like, what? This guy's losing his shit over at a ghost for leaving a guitar amplifier on. Like, and
at the moment, I honestly thought there was a real guy named Frank, and like he was like either like another co-op or someone who came in. I honestly thought that, and then after a while, he like saying it more than one time, just randomly. I kind of put two and two together. I was like,
he's talking about an inanimate object or something.
He's not talking about a real person. Oh man!
And it was just like guitar strings. We had this guitar string thing that we had. You had to physically lift up the strings. Like, it's not like they could just fall off.
Supposed to be safe.
Yeah. And strings would just fall. And I'd just be like, God damn it, Frank. And I'd pick it up and, but my least favorite thing that he ever did while he was Frank, I don't know if you remember this, because I think you came in, I think it was like the one time you came in late and there was a reason why. Yeah. You were like, I'm going to be like an hour late. I'm like, yeah, no big deal. And
he had like some sort of like grade 12.
Something was going on. It was 12, yeah. And I'm hanging out doing my thing, and I was being a little lazy that day. I did all my stuff I need to do every day, and I was kind of like, let's probably sweep the floor. I'll wait until Lazy comes in. He can do it. I'm gonna stand here and look at this pedal or whatever. Yeah. I'm gonna do inventory for the 100th time. So I'm standing there. We used to have this massive pick case.
Yeah.
Had all these different types of guitar picks, tons of them. And at that exact moment in time, because I did inventory, we had 3,727 guitar picks in there. Don't ask me how I know that still. Because I had just, because I did inventory on the guitar picks.
Yeah.
Because I was like, Rob trusts me to run his store and to
not run his store, but try to steal those things.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I'm going to keep. So I know, okay, Rob's entrusting me to do the day-to-day stuff. I'm gonna keep up on this stuff. I'm gonna inventory picks because I'm insane. And so I know, okay, if I give one to a student as a freebie or whatever, like, next level passion.
Yeah.
Just borderline obsession. I should probably seek help.
Blame it on the monster.
Yeah, blame on. Well, at that point, it was 3 monsters a day.
Oh man.
I think I slowed down a little bit. Whatever. Beside the point. So I'm standing there, kind of just being lazy. I'm like looking at this pedal. Yeah. We had this one pedal I always obsessed over, and I never ended up buying it. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Rob still has it. I should probably like hit him up with that. But anyway, and I'm like, look at this pedal. And all of a sudden, the freaking pick case just falls off the counter.
Oh my gosh!
Smash! 3,000. What did I say earlier? 3,200 and whatever picks just go flying all over the floor. And I'm just standing there taking this all in. Like, what did I not put it? Because the way that the counter was, there was a little lip on both sides of all three sides of the counter. Yeah. So it wasn't like if I didn't put it back, it would just fall. You physically would have to lift and then push in order for that to happen.
I'm pretty sure I remember that because when I came in, I was vacuuming. You told me to
kept
vacuum.
Finding picks, yeah.
I was like, man, why is there a pick near the door? And you're like, don't ask.
Yeah, because I was
ask.
like, if you find any picks, let me know. Because give it to me, and if it's okay to still sell, I'm gonna sell it because they're picks. Yeah. It took me probably that full hour to clean out those damn picks, and I didn't even inventory them. I just started throwing them in after a while, and the whole time I wish someone was there because I was just swearing up and down. God damn it, Frank, you freaking asshole. Why would you do this? What kind of sick pleasure do you get out of torturing me, you asshole? And just like...
Man, Randy, Frank, whatever.
Now he's Randy, he was
Frank.
Frank.
But, oh man. Unplugging the vacuum cleaner while you're like... Yeah. You obviously still have slack with the vacuum cleaner. And then I'd be around the corner in one of the rooms, like one of the lesson rooms, vacuuming. And then all I hear is it pull out, and I'd be like, okay, TJ's just messing with me. He's just just being TJ. But I come out and
I'm on the other side of the store.
You're fixing a guitar or something. You're looking over something on the computer, and I'm like, okay, all right. He's
God
quick on his feet.
Frank. Yeah, he just got the promo on Frank. God damn it, Frank.
God damn it, Frank.
Can I admit something to you right now, though?
Yeah.
There was one time I did do that.
Okay.
One of the times it was me.
So I was kind of crazy. I don't know. That's all good fun though. We always used to pull things on each other.
That's the thing too, is like all the stuff that Frank then now Randy did, it was never anything bad. The worst thing that he ever did to me was he left that tube amp on, which ended up having to cost me money.
That was dangerous.
Because that was bad for the amp. And then knocking the picks over. Because I was just like, dude, like, come on, man. And then making me look crazy when I would blame Frank or... Because I kind of forgot.
Terrorizing the new co-op students.
Well, that's the thing, too, is like the co-ops after you never had any encounters with them. Yeah. None of them did. Because there's 3 of them. None of them had any encounters with them. And it was so weird. But...
That's strange.
When he graduated... to Randy the Douchebag Ghost.
Randy the Douchebag Ghost. Oh my!
Because it was just I'm so obsessed with Family Guy that like I most of my humor is from Family Guy, obviously, as most people know. So like I just be like, I like Randy the Douchebag Ghost, whatever, and literally when I named him. So you were there when you would have had. No, I don't know if you were there that day when I named him Randy the Douchebag Ghost, but you must have been co-oping there.
I was co-oping, and I remember we were watching that episode. And then just randomly, like something happened.
Randy.
We were just like sitting there. I think I was like, I don't know, cleaning a guitar, like polishing the neck or something. And something fell. I look over at you, and then you just say Randy, and then we just started busting. Like,
well, you know what it was is we would watch those clips. You know those like best of clips, like 10-minute videos. Yeah. I'd be on my lunch and I'm like, because that's where the shoe and shoelace came into play. Shoe and shoelace, one is meaningless without the other. And I'm like, yo, bro, you're shoelace and I'm shoe. Done. Yeah. Well, no, I'm shoe. Wait, you were shoelace, I'm shoe? Yeah, okay, cool, I got you. Yeah. It's stupid shit. People are just
you had to be there.
You had to be there for it to be funny. But
good times.
We always had fun, but the point I'm trying to make is Randy would do these stupid little things to just be a douchebag. He wouldn't do them to piss you off. Well, no, actually, that's not what he would do. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it to hurt you or anything. He wouldn't do it to affect your business or anything. Aside from the fact that people thought I was crazy. The one time I let it slip in front of a regular parent, and they were cool. We always like joked around and stuff. the one time something happened, I was just like, God damn it, Randy. And like, he just looked at me and he's like, who's Randy? And I'm like, oh no, I'm about to explain to this grown adult who Randy the douchebag ghost is. And I explained it to him in full detail, and he's like, right on. Like, just like,
Rating
so
you off.
TJ's smoking the marijuana. And I'm just like, bro, like, no, you don't understand. And kind of ending off on this here, the best part about Randy the douchebag ghost is that he has followed me. I am convinced he has I'm not even convinced. I know he has.
Probably because he like you recognize that it's him.
I know.
You acknowledge him.
I talk to him sometimes because he is my good friend now. He still does stuff
You
to
have an
mess with me,
understanding.
but like I know that he does it because he's bored. You know, he's hanging out and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go mess with TJ. Watch this. Hey, watch this. It's like he probably has buddies, you know, ghost buddies. He's like, yo, watch how much this fat guy gets mad when I do this. Watch what I do. Yeah. So he just set his bowl of cereal on the counter. I'm gonna knock it over. Watch, motherfucker. But the best part is that he has followed me now to my work currently. And I haven't talked to a lot of people about this at work because, again, like he's insane. He's
Timmy's
crazy.
is definitely there's something going on in Timmy's.
Yeah, Randy.
Okay,
Straight up.
It is Randy.
Straight up,
okay.
man. Randy's there. He's in the building. Especially when I'm there, I know he's there. Because just, again, stuff will happen. Especially when I'm doing like, I'll do like a little odd jobs where I'm like, oh, I'm going to like paint this or I'm going to like, you know, attach this panel to this wall. And I'll screw in like 4 screws. I'll walk away and come back and 2 of them will be out. I'm like, God damn it, Randy. Seriously? Like, you mess with my job here, man. I'll do stuff. The truck. Okay? I'm telling you this right now, and I've never admitted this to our boss.
Yeah.
But I will put stuff away a certain way.
Yeah.
And I know I'll do it properly. And then the next day I'll come in. And he always jokingly is like, "Oh, you fixed your mistake yesterday." And I'm like, "What mistakes?" And then like he'll like run me through it, and he's always happy-go-lucky about it. But I'm just like, I'll be like, "I didn't do that." And for the longest time, I was like, "Who's messing with me?"
Yeah.
And I went, "Wait a minute, Randy." So I'm convinced now that Randy the douchebag ghost just follows me around now and messes with me because it's fun for him.
Oh my.
But yeah, did you have any more ghost stories, some gigs you want to touch on before we sign off?
Let me think. Okay, yeah. There's one more. Remember when we had that food truck festival?
Absolutely.
And we had like a little booth outside handing out like pamphlets and stuff for lessons and whatnot.
Yep, you came in on that was when
That was a good day.
Yeah, that was a fun day.
That was
good.
really fun.
Lots of customers. Awesome.
I remember I was grabbing I think it was either more pamphlets from the basement. No, it wasn't pamphlets. It was another chair. I was getting more chairs because we only had 2 out in the front. And
people kept sitting in our chairs.
because like other co-ops and other people, oh yeah, let's go sit down, grab a guitar, play it for a bit.
Yeah, tried all these guitars out front, so that was a great idea.
So I went downstairs into the basement and I was like looking for the chairs, and they're kind of like just you walk down the stairs and right to the left there's like a couple chairs piled on top of each other. So I'm kind of trying to get them like apart from each other to kind of like, I don't know, put back kind of strangely. And I grab a couple and I'm going up the stairs, and one just slipped out of my hand and fell down the stairs. So I put the other one that I had two chairs in my hand. I put the one at the top of the stairs, walked down to grab the other one, and the chair's back in the same spot where it was literally stacked. At first I thought it was just like somebody else down there, like either Brandon or something, just like, you know, messing with me. Just,
Yeah, because I think Hayes, he was there
like
that day.
hiding in the side, just like
I'm gonna mess with that. I was like,
mess
what's
with
this? I'm gonna mess with.
But I'm looking around and I'm like, hey, yeah, real funny, blah, blah, blah. That's hilarious, man. You got me. Nobody down there.
Down there.
Nobody.
You know who was
So
down
I'm just like, whoa. I went upstairs and I give the chairs over to, like, pass them over to TJ, and I'm like, TJ, Randy's back.
there? It's just, and Izzy's down there. He's just,
TJ's just laughing.
Randy. I hope you know now. Next time you're working, I'm just gonna like be in the back. I'm just like, Randy.
I'll be doing the poll. You turn off the light, like Randy's here.
Well,
Isaac.
well, that's the thing too. Is like I don't now, mind you, if people we work with listen to this now, they're gonna be like, seriously, like, sorry, I'm DJ, and I'm like, dude, I'm telling you the truth, straight up. But
Oh my.
yeah, so this has been the Ghosts of Gigs Music, kind of a specialty podcast here. Thank you very much, man, for hanging out with me. And,
Yeah, man.
because this
It's been too long, man.
yeah, man, it has, and we'll have to have you on again sometime to talk about
I'd love to
some
be
more
on here
music
again.
and stuff. And because you were one of those people where, like, when I started this, I was like, I gotta have you on. And just there's so many people that they've been on my list for so long, and just for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And then finally it does, and I'm like, yes, so good. And I think this was perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you again for coming on, sharing that. And if you're listening right now and you have some ghost stories that you want to share, I mean, as you're listening to this, it is Halloween. So be sure to hit me up and share with me. And again, if you want to check out, if you liked what you heard earlier in that little intro that he did for us, you can definitely check him out. What's some of the social medias they can check you out on?
Social media. You could look up my
You're pretty big on the Insta. You do a lot of stuff
Instagram.
on
Yeah,
Instagram.
that's kind of like my main outlet. I don't really have my Twitter up. I'm not really super twit nut, but Instagram, you can look me up as who.is.izzybuddha. And yeah, you should be able to see a couple videos, couple of, I don't know, just me selling beats, basically.
It's
just
cool
previews of my SoundCloud releases and whatnot. Yeah.
And it's all good stuff. So go check him out. And every once in a while, you might see me comment saying I'm reporting him for nudity or something. Something stupid like that. Cool. All right,
man.
buddy. Well, thank you very much again, man. And we'll talk to you another time.
Yeah.
Next, man.
It's been real.
Oh, and one more thing.
Happy Halloween.